Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2025 Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame and Fire Awards. Please direct your attention to the exits in the front and the back. In the event of an emergency, we're in the right hands, right? Everybody knows what to do. If you've been here before, it's a familiar face, so it is my pleasure to introduce today's MC, returning for a fourth year, Angela Pace.
Thank you very much, Jared. How's everybody doing? Is anybody else surprised that they asked me back for a fourth year? No? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Good afternoon and welcome to the 44th Annual Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame and Fire Awards. You're going to have to shorten that up, Chief, somehow. That's a mouthful. And you are paying me by the word, so, well, never mind then. Make it as long as you want to be. Thank you. I'm Angela Pace, and I have the privilege of emceeing this event for the fourth year. And I come back, well, because basically if they didn't ask me, I would crash it anyway, because I love this award, and I love the men and women that this award salutes. I have so much respect and love for our firefighters and EMTs, and I always appreciate having the opportunity to honor them year after year. And I'm wearing fire engine red. Thank you. For the occasion. We are fortunate to have some other individuals with us who share my sentiments. Some of our elected officials and their representatives are joining us for today's occasion, as well as the directors of several of our state agencies, including Department of Commerce Director Sherry Maxfield and Director of Public Safety Andy Wilson. So if you would you please stand so that you can be recognized? Any elected officials, stand up, Sherry, you know the drill. Andy, stand up. And any other department heads or elected officials, please stand. And we thank you all very much for being here. And of course, I want to thank everybody in this room for joining us, especially the honorees and their families and their co-workers. And thanks to all of you who are watching on TV or online. Oh, are we on TV? Unaccustomed as I am to the camera. To begin today's program, Ohio Fire Council Chair John W. Finley and Mark Marchetta with the Emergency Medical, Fire, and Transportation Services Board are here with some words of welcome. First up is John W. Finley, Chair of the Ohio Fire Council.
Thank you. Welcome, esteemed guests and fellow firefighters. My name is John W. Finley, Chair of the State Fire Council, Mayor of the Village of McConnellsville, and Fire Chief of the Malta and McConnellsville Volunteer Fire Department. I am deeply honored to welcome you to the 44th Annual Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame Awards. This afternoon, we come together to celebrate the dedication, bravery, and sacrifice of those who safeguard our communities. The State Fire Council serves as an advisory board, represents stakeholders across Ohio, and is tasked by the General Assembly with honoring extraordinary achievements and acts of heroism in fire-related incidents. Our council comprises of 10 Ohioans appointed by the governor with the Senate support representing diverse groups like the fire service, local government, industries, and the general public. We have several of our Fire Council members here with us today. Would you all please stand? Thank you. Today we shine a light on the incredible contributions of our state's firefighters. These awards honor individuals who have exemplified service, courage, leadership, and unwavering commitment to their communities. Our honorees remind us of the finer qualities of humanity and inspire us to strive for the same level of dedication in our lives. Our firefighters are our neighbors. They're our friends and our family. Every day they put their safety of others above their own and embodying true heroism. Their work often goes unnoticed, but today we are here to ensure their sacrifices are not only seen, but deeply appreciated. Please join me in expressing our heartfelt gratitude to all firefighters and in applauding the honorees of the 2025 Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame Fire and Awards. Together, let's continue to support and celebrate those heroes who make our communities safer, stronger, and better. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mark Machetta with the Emergency Medical, Fire, and Transportation Services Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Finley. It's an honor to be here with you as we recognize the outstanding dedication of Ohio's first responders and the selfless work that they do every day. It's a career built on rushing towards danger when others flee. I serve on the State Board of Emergency Medical, Fire, and Transportation Services, where we are committed to ensuring that every EMS provider and firefighter have access to the training they need to provide Ohioans with top-notch care. The work you do cannot be overstated. When you arrive on scene, you often meet people at some of the worst moments of their lives. It's your skills, compassion, and professionalism that bring hope to the hopeless, steady hands to the uncertain, and peace of mind to those in turmoil. Those of you being recognized today went above and beyond, whether it's showing bravery in the face of danger or devoting years of your life to supporting fire and EMS crews. You no doubt sacrifice time with your own families to protect others. That takes courage and character the likes of many people do not possess. We also want to thank your families for their sacrifice and their understanding of why the work you do is so important. Without their love and support, these honorees would not be able to give so much of themselves to others. For all the individuals being recognized today and for every first responder across Ohio, you embody the true spirit of service. You remind us of what it means to put others first. You inspire us to be better neighbors and leaders. And for that, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It is an honor to be here today. Thank you very much, and I will now turn it back over to the MC.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. At this time, please stand if you are able as the Columbus Division of Fire Honor Guard posts the colors for today's ceremony. Please welcome Robert Wagner, Executive Director of the Ohio Division of EMS, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as Debbie Liffick performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Post. Cover.
Today's invocation will be delivered by Chaplain Larry Foster from the Ohio Federation of Fire Chaplains and Liberty Township Volunteer Fire Department.
Good afternoon. Will you join me as we bow our heads and pray? Heavenly Father, we humbly ask your blessing upon this ceremony and what it represents, the service and the sacrifice of so many in the care for your children. Please bless those who are honored this day for their service. We ask, Lord, that you'd bless the families of those who serve in their very singular fashion as they support their loved ones in this call to service. We pray, Lord, that as we go through these proceedings that we remember that it is you who calls us to serve, you who calls us to love, and you who calls us to follow you. And we ask these things as we spend this time together in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Chaplain. To help us honor and remember those who have lost in the line of duty over the past year, please direct your attention to the screen where those names will be listed, and we welcome firefighter Mark Foster from the Columbus Division of Fire Honor Guard to ring the bell as we honor these fallen colleagues.
A tradition that resonates deeply with every firefighter is the ceremonial ringing of the bell to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. This is a tribute that dates back more than 150 years. In the firefighting profession, the sound of a bell holds a special place in the hearts of the men and women who serve. Decades ago, it marked the beginning and end of a firefighter's shift and signaled the call to duty. And in those moments when we lose one of our own, it is the mournful toll of the bell that announces a comrade's passing. To our fallen brothers, we say your task is complete, your duty well done. Today, as we ring the bell, we do so not only in mourning, but in a grateful tribute to their sacrifice. They have reached their last alarm. They are indeed going home. May we never forget their service, valor, and sacrifice. Line of duty deaths. Sean P. Calvi, Cleveland Fire Department. Amanda Carduck, Painesville City Fire Department. Alan Van Kramer, Madison Fire Department. John Saunders, Tri-Community Joint Fire District. Paul Mikulik, Town and Country Fire District.
You can all be seated now. Thank you. And thank you, firefighter Mark Foster. Before we get to our individual awards, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Andy Wilson, who is the director of the Department of Public Safety. And then after Director Wilson, we'll hear from my favorite fire marshal, and don't tell anybody but my boyfriend, Kevin Reardon. Andy?
Well, thank you and good afternoon. Listen, earlier this spring, I had the opportunity to join the Dayton Fire Department at their Fire Training Academy. And they put me through some of the exercises that they do there, including a flashover simulator, where basically they set a Connex container on fire and let the fire go over top of you. And they also took me in the burn house and did a burn in the burn house. And as I was prepping to go in there, as they were giving me the safety brief, these little things stood out to me. Like when we were going over the flashover trailer, going into the flashover trailer, it said, hey, look, don't look straight at the fire because it'll melt your face mask to your face. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, surely that's not true. And they're like, no, seriously, don't look directly at the fire. And as I was in that flashover trailer, a couple things stood out. Number one, it was hot. Man, it was, I know that's an oxymoron, but it was hot. It was so hot. It was so cramped. And the equipment was so confining. And I don't have a fire and EMS background at all. But for the first time in a long, long time, probably since I was in the military, I started to feel fear. And I had to control my breathing through the apparatus. I had to control my perspiration and my heart rate. And I really had to consciously control myself to keep panic from taking over. And as I drove home later that night and I reflected on what the men and women of the fire service do, it just absolutely stood out to me, the level of courage and commitment and professionalism and love for others more than yourself that you all demonstrate every single day in doing your job. And look, I was in controlled training. They weren't going to let, I'm the director of public safety. They're not going to let anything bad happen to me in that training scenario. But look, men and women in this room who are in uniform, you crawl through windows, stepping on floors, not knowing whether or not that floor is going to give out on you. Not knowing whether or not an actual flashover is going to happen. And you do it because the people you serve depend on you to do it. And you do your duty every day. And sometimes, unfortunately, you pay the ultimate price in doing your duty. And it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be here today, really to uphold men and women who have done their duty at the highest level and to recognize that service. And my wish for you today is that every day, to the men and women in uniform, every day you put that uniform on. Look, I hope that you don't just see it as a job. I hope that you don't just see it as a paycheck, something you got to do for the day. Man, it's so much more than that. It's a blessing. It's a calling. It's a passion. And don't ever let the routine of the day-to-day minimize or distract you from the passion that it is. And we need you every day to lean into that, to embrace your greatness, to realize that, look, there is nobody at this time who is better positioned than you to serve the people you serve, to serve the community you serve, to serve the department you serve, and to serve the brothers and sisters to your right or left, and lean into that. I'll tell you just a quick story. I love this quote. Many of you probably heard it. Michael Jordan. At the end of his career, Michael Jordan said, hey, look, throughout my career, man, I have missed over 9,000 shots. I have lost over 300 games. 26 times the ball was in my hand at the end of the game, and I shot and I missed. And I failed time and time again, but that's what's made me successful. And even though he'd missed all those shots, and even though he'd lost all those games, you better believe at the end of the game, Michael Jordan was calling for the ball. Why? Because he embraced his role at that moment, at that time, as the leader of his team. And man, all of us in our position, in our current duty, need to do that. The people we serve deserve that from us. And the last point that I wish for all of you in here today is this. Look, I think sometimes in life, we get it wrong. We think that we have to be the superstar. We think that we have to be the champion in everything we do. And if we're not the superstar, we're not the champion, then we're a failure. And the bottom line is that's not how it works, man. That's not how it works. What we should be striving to do is every day be just a little bit better than we were yesterday. And the people that we're honoring today, the acts that we're honoring them for today, really is actually the accumulation of being better every day over a long period of time. And if we do that, man, if you're better tomorrow than you were today, if you're better Friday than you were Monday, then we're going to be the champion, and we're going to be the superstar. And we're going to continue to deliver the level of service that the people who rely on us, our friends, our families, our communities, need and deserve. Man, God bless you all. God bless the men and women of the fire service. God bless the state of Ohio, and God bless the United States of America. It's my great honor now to introduce Marshal Kevin Reardon.
Let me once again welcome everyone to our 44th Annual Fire Service Hall of Fame and Fire Awards program. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with so many dedicated firefighters, leaders, and supporters of Ohio's fire service. I'd also like to thank Director of Commerce, Sherry Maxfield, for being with us on this special occasion to help us celebrate the many great things that some of you have done in the audience. While this event is special every year, this year it's especially special because it's our 125th anniversary celebration. In 1900, the Division of State Fire Marshal was created in state government primarily to address the crime of arson. So think about 1900 and how bad could the problem of arson have been in 1900? But apparently it was. So we've been there ever since. For the last 125 years, we have worked tirelessly to protect Ohioans and the communities, and that includes fire prevention initiatives, investigative support, training, outreach, and financial support for many fire departments. The legacy of our services that we provide is a testament to the dedication, innovation, and commitment of Ohio's firefighters and fire service professionals, just like some of our honorees that are with us today. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to stop at the back table and look at some of our history that we have on display, and please celebrate this moment with us. Today, as we honor the bravery and accomplishments of our firefighters, I also want to acknowledge the challenges facing many fire departments throughout the state. Across the state, departments are experiencing a significant rise in emergency responses, and that places greater stress on an already stretched resource. At the same time, recruiting the next generation of firefighters remains very critical for us, especially those willing to serve on a volunteer basis. As all of us here know, the fire service is rooted in courage and community, and we must ensure that we have the personnel and support to continue meeting the needs of our citizens. What's alarming is that fewer Ohioans are making the decision to serve as volunteer firefighters, and that needs to change for the safety and security of our communities. If you attended last year's event, you heard me talk about some of the things that we at the State Fire Marshal's Office have done to help tackle some of the problem involving the volunteer fire service. Some of the things we've done include a campaign to promote Ohio's volunteer fire service, trying to encourage people to get interested. We have waived fees for volunteer firefighters to attend any of our training that's conducted through the Ohio Fire Academy. We've also increased grant funding, and we provide to fire departments across the state, and that's critical to so many small departments. If you also haven't heard about our program, MakeMeAFirefighter.com, please go to that website and look for opportunities within your communities to share with those that might be interested in becoming a volunteer firefighter. Additionally, we are constantly modernizing training technology and expanding resources available through the Ohio Fire Academy. All of these efforts to equip our departments with skilled, passionate, and professional individuals so that they can become the professionals of tomorrow in the fire service and lead our communities to be as safe as possible. While future firefighter recruitment is essential, this event is about honoring those who serve today. The firefighters we recognize at this special event and the citizens that are here, they have displayed exceptional courage, leadership, and commitment. They embody the highest standards of our profession, and they remind us of why our work matters. Please join me in celebrating their achievements and also in reflecting upon the importance of supporting all of our fire service professionals statewide as they respond to serve the needs of their communities and protect the lives of Ohioans 24/7. Thank you again, and congratulations to our honorees.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Chief Reardon, you convinced me. I'll sign up. Is there an age limit? You waited too long. You're supposed to say, oh, Angela, whatever age. Thank you very much. That's what I was waiting for. I was fishing. Is there a height limit? Oh, okay. And then, Director Wilson, I will forever refer to you as Coach Wilson, because if that wasn't a pregame speech, and you should have seen him from the back, well, maybe not, but it was just like a coach on the sidelines in front of his team. So thank you both very much for your inspiring words. We appreciate it. All right. Yeah, you can applaud that. Okay, now the real reason that we're here, and that's to honor the 2025 Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame Award winners and Division of EMS honorees. All of today's honorees are very impressive and brave individuals, and to help us tell their stories, we are thrilled to share with you brief videos that have been produced over the last few months. And then honorees, at the end of your respective videos, please join us on stage to receive your awards and to strike a pose for your photos. Okay, are we ready to hand out some awards? Oh, come on. Are we ready to hand out some awards? Thank you. I didn't get dressed up for a lukewarm response like that. I've got on heels, for goodness sakes. So the first award is the Ohio Citizen Award, and this award goes to members of the public who, at great personal risk to themselves, are credited with saving or attempting to save a life or lives during an extreme fire or emergency rescue situation. And this year we are proud to present 3 Citizen Awards. We begin with the story of Justin Thompson, Ford Amsbaugh, Kevin Jarvis, and Ronnie Smith, 4 asphalt workers who risked their lives trying to rescue victims of a house explosion that occurred last September, just minutes from where they happened to be working.
I was standing there on the side of my shop, and I heard the explosion.
Shook the whole ground, shook the building, and we walked outside and it looked like it was snowing. When we first ran up there was a lady walking with her dog that owned the house. She was walking from out back. They were both kind of stumbling, the dog and her. We get them out to the road.
I grabbed her by her shoulders and I'm like, is there anybody in the house? Kind of came to and she said, there's 2 in the basement.
The homeowner notified us that there were contractors in the house and they were there looking for mold in the home. So we had no idea where they were at. The first arriving people on scene was the crew from Thompson Asphalt. They were just 2 doors down from the incident location. They were at the shop there repairing some equipment, heard the explosion, saw the smoke cloud in the air, and just jumped into action. They had a water truck that they brought with them that never has water in it, and the pump hardly ever works, but for some reason that day they had water in it and the pump started on the first try.
Looking back at this thing, it's almost like everything was put in place for us to be able to do what we did. And the only place that I could get to was the corner of the house on the east side.
So they tried initially to start putting some of the flames out. They could hear Mr. Kramer's cries for help and got a general area for us to go to and start digging through the rubble and debris.
Where we could reach with the truck and where I got down in the hole was where he was. And there was everything from roof, shingles, drywall. There was a pool table over him. He should have been crushed, but he was protected by the things that fell over him in the way that they fell over him.
It's really nice knowing that we have citizens in our community that still are there for each other. Again, Mr. Thompson and his crew disregarded their own safety and went to rescue, it wasn't even their neighbor, just a stranger that was trapped in a basement, and his wife, who unfortunately perished in the accident. But they were right there. They didn't think twice about it. They disregarded their own safety and they jumped right into action with fire nearby and unsteady surfaces. So if anybody could take any lessons from this, they should look at what Mr. Thompson and his crew did and think about that next time somebody needs some help.
Wow. Right place, right time, right people. Gentlemen, please come forward and accept your Ohio Citizen Award. Get them together, Chief. Congratulations, gentlemen. Outstanding. Our next Ohio Citizen Award goes to Bill Hirschberger and Carl Mounts, who are being honored for their heroic actions last July. That's when two men came together to pull a driver to safety from a dump truck that had completely overturned and was on fire along I-77 in Wayne County.
As I was going on the on-ramp, I looked back to check traffic so I could merge onto 77, and I looked back and all the traffic had stopped already. And I looked ahead and there was this truck that had flipped over. It must have flipped over the median.
It was heading north, and he went over top of the divider right in front of me.
It was at least an 7 to 8 foot drop from the northbound lane to the southbound lane. Pulled over the side of the road and got out, and it was already burning. I heard somebody say, "Help me, somebody help me."
I saw somebody in need. It just automatically went into action doing it. No second thoughts.
And when I heard that, you just have to go.
Driver's door up against the divider, and the cover that covers the whole back of the dump truck to keep the stuff in was crumpled up in front of the passenger door, so he couldn't get out.
There was so much gravel there, I had to run around the gravel to the door to open the door and then run back around, and I did that like 2 times to get the door opened. He was covered in diesel fuel. I asked him if he's all right, and he didn't answer. He was laying on would be the top of the truck. He's upside down. And I reached in there and grabbed his arm and went to try to pull him over to the door. And I couldn't pull. He was a big fella. I said, hey buddy, you're gonna have to help here. Scooted his way over, and we got him stood up and walked him over to the guardrail. And probably 5 minutes after, we heard an explosion, and then everything was burning inside the truck.
One of the most dangerous jobs a firefighter can do is work alongside the road. And here he is, just civilian, no fire experience of any kind at all, rescue experience either. And he's, spearheading the operation to rescue this gentleman from his burning semi.
When I got him out, we were walking over to the guardrail. He said something about he has 2 daughters. He wasn't sure if he was going to see them again. I have 2 daughters, so it meant something to me that he could go home and hug his children. If you get the opportunity to help others, just help. It's very rewarding. I feel good at myself for doing that.
I never thought I would ever be in a situation like that.
Wow. Our next Ohio Citizen Award goes to Bill Hirschberger and Carl Mounts, who are being honored for their heroic actions last July. Please come up and accept your awards. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and congratulations. I would really love for you guys to just kind of follow me around. So when I get stuck in something like that, I know I can count on you. Our final Ohio Citizen Award goes to John Ersham and William Sears, who jumped into action with other neighbors to rescue a woman and her son after a massive home explosion last May in Fulton County.
Fulton County, Ellen.
The house across the street just blew up. The house is gone in flames, and there's people yelling, "Help me!" We just heard an explosion of some sort, and when we looked out the window, there's a huge thing of smoke and fire.
I hear kids screaming in the back right now, but I don't see anybody.
A large amount of smoke and fire, house explosion, occupied times 4.
Law enforcement on scene advising at least 2 still in the residence.
K King and 12. K King and 12 for house explosion.
And also be advised, we do have flight on standby.
On scene, heavy smoke, heavy fire.
We were dispatched to a home explosion with 4 reported occupants. None of the house was standing. It was completely leveled. The roof and some of the walls had blown outside of the foundation. Most of it had fallen into the foundation, into the basement. It was utter chaos at the scene the first few minutes. The civilians that were nominated for this award were neighbors of this residence, were awoken by this explosion, and subsequently the first ones there to render any aid. They were the ones that found the little boy out in the yard and got him to safety. They were able to find the female victim of the fire in the basement. Through some debris, they were able to see her, and 3 bystanders formed a human chain to extend themselves down into the basement and pull her up to safety.
I mean, if they weren't there, then she wouldn't be here now, so I would say thank you for their actions.
After the incident was over, several weeks after, this award was brought up to me as a possibility, and I struggled with the nomination of this just due to the gravity of loss of life. However, after reaching out to Miss Navarro, who was a survivor that was rescued in this fire, and I explained the situation, she stopped me mid-sentence and absolutely wanted Mr. Ursham and Mr. Sears nominated for this award. Like I said, without their efforts that day, she would not have survived. And they could not bring themselves to be interviewed for this award. True heroes are, you never know who they are. They may be in a uniform, they may be in street clothes. They put their life on the line for a complete stranger, and that's the stuff you don't hear about. We don't have enough of that.
John Ursham and William Sears, please come forward to accept your award. Congratulations and thank you. You know, these sound like episodes out of 911, only with real people. So can we have one more round of applause for the citizens who are not paid to do what they did? The Ohio Fire Service Valor Award is given to members of Ohio's fire service who, at great personal risk to themselves, are credited with directly saving or attempting to save a life during an emergency situation above and beyond the normal call of duty. Today, we are recognizing 3 individuals with the Fire Service Valor Award. Our first Valor Award recipient is Travis Birch, a firefighter and EMT with the Fowler Fire Department in Trumbull County. As you'll see in this story, Travis, in spite of the fact that he was not wearing protective gear, rescued an 80-year-old woman who was trapped inside her burning home last July.
I responded from home, heard that there was a lady trapped in a fire. The house was close to the fire station, so I was hoping that we'd get a good response. We just lost our staffing probably 3 months or so before this call came in, so that obviously was a concern.
So I was off duty. I was cooking dinner for the kids when they got off of school. We got called for an occupied house fire. So I responded from home in my personal vehicle. I had to pass the residence to get to the station, so I ended up stopping in my own vehicle.
He stopped to see what he can do, and essentially without the protection of a hose line or any protective turnout gear.
There was a police vehicle on the roadway marking the driveway. There was heavy smoke coming from the back of the residence.
I looked to pull in the yard. I thought I was going to be part of the rescue situation there. And as I looked, I noticed Travis's truck was already in the yard.
Police officers were on the back porch of the residence. They were attempting to make entry with a fire extinguisher to put the kitchen, it was a kitchen fire, it ended up being a stove fire. So they were attempting to put the fire out with a fire extinguisher. I asked them where she was, if they heard her. They said they heard her in the front of the building. So I continued to the front of the building. So when I got to the door, I noticed the door was aged very well. So I knew it wasn't going to be much to kick it. So I kicked it, and when I kicked it, it didn't go in all the way. I could tell something stopped it. That's when I started picking the glass out, and it was, shards of glass. I was barehanded, so picking the glass out and pulled the curtain down. She was on the floor on the other side of the door. So I stepped in the window and drug her to the window and then was able to pull her out. Once I got her out of the window onto the porch, the police officers came around and was able to help me pick her up, and we carried her to the front yard.
And then as I looked, I saw Travis had already got her out, and she was sitting under the tree there, and he had oxygen on her and was providing some medical attention to her.
But I think it's right place, right time, right person.
I went and saw her a few days later. She didn't remember the fire at all. She remembered me when I was a kid. She's, for a woman in her 80s though, she is doing well. She's living with family now.
Travis is pretty much the heart of a firefighter. He's brave, courageous, strong, efficient, and he's very compassionate as well.
Travis is very deserving of this award. I'm sure he's very humble, but it needs to be recognized. He did an outstanding job from hearing those stories from everybody that was at the incident.
Firefighter Travis Birch, please come forward to accept your award. Congratulations, Firefighter Birch. Our next Valor Award goes to Medina Fire Chief Larry Walters. Chief Walters was not wearing full protective equipment. What is it with you guys going into fires naked? Anyway, but I digress. Chief Walters was not wearing full protective equipment when he went into a burning home last October to rescue a woman who was trapped inside the smoke-filled basement, saving her life.
En route, or very early on in the call, we were already receiving reports of possible entrapment. She was being reported as trapped in the basement.
So our bedroom was downstairs, and I went back to sleep after my mom took my son. It was me and my dog downstairs. I woke up from the fire alarms upstairs. We got out of bed, ran up the stairs, and our basement door was already glowing. So we ran back downstairs, tried calling my husband, and then I texted him, and then I called 911 from my closet because all the smoke was starting to come down.
A lot of the home was engulfed in flames already, and there was a tremendous amount of smoke. She was trapped in the basement, she couldn't get out, and she was on the phone with 911 reporting her condition, her location, obviously very frantic, asking for help.
By the time they got the call, they were 17 minutes out. So I was down there for, felt like an eternity.
When I arrived, they were trying to pull her out of that window. But
I'm very short, so reaching a concrete window in the basement is a little difficult.
The window's tall for anybody. I mean, basement windows, they're over 6 feet, so even for us, we have to do certain techniques to get out of a basement, which Chief Walters did with the halogen bar that we had there.
The basement was too deep, and the window was just too small. And I could tell that, in order for her to get out of there, someone was going to have to go in.
So once he picked me up and pushed me out, they were able to get me out.
So I helped her up onto that tool and then pushed her out of the window while the other rescuers that were outside the window still from the Sheriff's Department and the other mutual aid fire departments pulled her, and it didn't take very long. We got her out pretty quickly.
Chief Walters is a hero, obviously. He did the ultimate task of rescuing somebody from a burning building. That's what we signed up to do.
The award definitely, he's well deserved. Never did I think that I was going to be in this situation, but I can't be more thankful for the whole department, Yorktown, Medina, everybody showing up that day and saving me so I can be there for my children every day.
Here in Medina, it is a very collaborative effort amongst all the public safety agencies, and that day was an example of everyone from various agencies coming together and creating a successful outcome.
Come forward to accept your award. Congratulations, Chief. Youngstown firefighters Scott Thomas, Tommy Gibbs, and Joseph Cozell are the recipients of our final Valor Award today. And as you'll see, they were among the first to respond to a massive explosion in downtown Youngstown last May, heroically saving 5 people in the basement of the building.
The original call came in as a report of a gas leak, and there was also a pull station in the basement of the building.
With the pull station, that's not really normal, I guess, with the gas leak, but we didn't think anything of it. At least I didn't.
Initially, to me, it was a nuisance call, but, probably just somebody smelling something. It's not actually anything. Unfortunately, we became complacent with these calls because we received so many of them. As we started the truck, the call came in. Now we're getting call reports of an explosion. So immediately after we pulled out on the apron, I seen heavy smoke. Closest thing I could ever remind me of was the pictures of all the dust filling up downtown of New York City, 9/11.
We see shattered glass all over the street, people screaming, people running, and the first floor of the building was caved in on itself. It had collapsed into the basement.
One of the officers told me, directed me over to where somebody was at, and I looked down the hole, and my immediate thought was, I need to get these people out of here. When I looked down, I seen a gentleman standing there who was covered in blood and dust, and he pointed to what appeared, all I could see was a head sticking out of some rubble.
I don't even think I got to the actual scene before Captain Gibbs told me to grab a ladder. I went and got the ladder, and then he just went to work.
Yeah, go!
Firefighter Thomas wanted to come down, Officer Hamilton wanted to come down, but I didn't want anybody else down there with me. If something was going to happen, I'd rather it just happen to me, not bring other people with me unnecessarily.
Got it? I got her. You okay? Go.
We pulled 3 out of the sub-level area.
It's a mixed-use building, so it was 12 stories. The bank where the main blast was and most of the people were trapped, and there was also the apartment building that was above that.
I think some divine intervention definitely played a key role in that.
Especially with the time of the day and the occupancy of the building. We figured there was going to be a lot more people in there. Thankfully, the fire alarm got pulled and people got out.
It's changed the way I look at the training and how I go about things. If I'm always, you can't train for every call, but we can train for how we're going to act on these calls.
Everybody now realizes, anytime that tone hits, it can be anything.
The majority of people don't realize the lady that we actually rescued, she ended up being pregnant at the time, unknown pregnancy. So she was actually delivered a very healthy baby boy not too long ago. they are doing quite well.
Gentlemen, please come forward and accept your Fire Service Valor Awards. Did the woman you rescue at least name the baby after y'all? Okay. Middle name got my name. Okay. Congratulations, firefighters. Thank you for what you do. And can we have a round of applause for all of our Valor Service Award winners? Man. I am also now officially afraid to go in my basement. The Distinguished Service Award is given annually to Ohioans whose leadership and accomplishments have served as a milestone and are widely recognized and respected in the Ohio Fire Service. This year we have 5 awardees, beginning with Brian Peterman, whose decorated career spans more than 40 years.
When I graduated high school, I got on a fire department in Stark County, Ohio, Canton Township Fire Department, spent 10 years with them, moved to Worcester and joined the Worcester Township Fire Department. And I've been on Worcester Township ever since, moving up through the ranks from firefighter to assistant chief, and then when I got promoted at the state fire marshal's office, I retired as assistant chief at Worcester Township Fire Department.
If I had a fire at my house, that's the guy I'd want investigating it. We've worked multiple large scenes together. 2 that really stand out are the Stanley Ford case out of Akron, where 9 people were murdered by Stanley Ford. And then we had 2 firefighters murdered up in Toledo. And we worked that case together. Both of those we worked for several days a scene, and then the follow-up investigation. And he's nonstop. And I can tell you the Stanley Ford case would not have been solved without Brian.
We're able to arrest him, get him convicted, and he's serving life in prison. Those right there are satisfying.
Brian's knowledge and experience that he brings to this department from his many years of service through not only fire departments but the state fire marshal's office is a huge asset to Worcester Township and Wayne County and all of Northeast Ohio.
Some of the stuff he does and the time he puts in on his own is really amazing, and you don't see that a lot anymore.
Both my boys are involved in the fire service.
It's the discipline and the expectation. You know, we expect perfection because that's what our dad expected, and that's what made him successful, and we want to follow in those same footsteps.
I think just to be able to pass that down to my son, who hopefully, 10, 15 years from now can, follow my footsteps. But, just realize the foundation that's been set for me and then set the foundation for him as well.
It's not going to come to a surprise to anybody in the state of Ohio that's involved with the fire service when they find out Brian got this award. He's well known throughout all the departments across the state for what he's done throughout his entire career.
You can take so many different paths, and I've chose the fire investigation path primarily to investigate fire and specialize in that, and teaching. I think those are the 2 most important things in my career. I think it's a profession that everybody respects, and it is a good profession. I mean, people are calling 911 for help, and what better career to have is to go out and help people.
You're often remembered by the stories told about you, and going forward, Brian Peterman's going to have great stories to be told forever for the rest of our lives, and hopefully beyond that.
Accept your award. Congratulations. Now, I love it when firefighting becomes a family affair. Love that. Paul Wright is our next Distinguished Service Award recipient. Take a look at how he has spent more than 4 decades serving in and advancing Ohio's fire service.
I'm a retired fire chief from the city of Montgomery, where I was chief there for 27 years and have had 47 years in the career. I'll still be working with the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association as the foundation chair, and we oversee the training programs for firefighter officer 1, 2, 3, and weekend fire officer and foundational leadership. I started in 1978 on an intern project out of my high school. In that time, there was a TV show called Emergency, and that kind of got me interested in fire and EMS, which that was the recruitment videos for the Los Angeles County Fire Department. But it worked on me, and then in 1998, I was promoted to the fire chief position, so I've been fire chief almost 27 years. My wife will tell you that I had no ambitions to be a fire chief. It just kind of happened when I was looking at who was applying. It's like, I don't think I want to work for that guy, I don't want to work for that guy. In 1982, in Montgomery, there was an airplane crash. It had on board 4 FBI agents, a convicted felon, and his attorney. The felon had buried $50,000 in the greater Cincinnati area, and he was coming to Cincinnati to show them where he had buried that. We think there was pilot error on setting the altimeter, so he dropped out of the clouds and came and crashed into a pickup truck on Main Street, and then that rolled this twin-engine Cessna into the 2-story old house that was a bookstore and exploded. We were at the fire station a block and a half away, and we saw the explosion. We didn't know they were FBI agents originally, and all of a sudden all these feds started showing up. The interesting thing was that years later, my family, we were in Washington, D.C., and we went to the J. Edgar Hoover, and we're at the memorial wall with agents' pictures who had died in the line of duty, and somebody said, "What's the biggest loss of life in one day of FBI agents?" And they go, "It was a plane crash in Montgomery, Ohio." And my daughters go, "He was there!" You know, so all these people turned around and look at me like, I'm like, you know. And then in April of 1999, we had an F4 tornado come through Montgomery, Blue Ash, Sycamore Township, Sims Township. In Montgomery, we had 4 fatalities, and it destroyed about 125 homes. So there I am, a new chief on the job 6 months, and we have this major disaster. So that hit at like 5:30 in the morning. I came in and we managed that incident over the next few days.
And I think there's a lot of people in the state of Ohio who consider him to be a mentor because he's always able to listen, give great advice, and also be strategic.
Wise counsel, intelligent, measured, smart, and just an outstanding fire chief. Somebody that I've tried to pattern and model my career after.
Please come forward and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations. David Young is our next Distinguished Service Award recipient. See how he has served his community and played an integral part of fire service ever since.
I've known Mike probably coming up on about 50 years. But I've known him a lot through the fire department, community involvement, things like that.
It all started in 1958 when I was 6 years old, and my aunt came to the local school while I was eating lunch and said, "You need to go home, your home's on fire." Fortunately, the fire department salvaged the house, and it still stands today. After we moved to Sardinia, I was encouraged to apply to the fire department, but the local department had a 1-year residency requirement. So I waited, and in 1974, I submitted my application in June, and at the regular business meeting of the department in July, I was voted on as a fire department, as a firefighter. Obviously, there's been some just absolutely terrible incidents that we've responded to, but the most memorable one is in July 4th, 1995 at 1:48 a.m. when our tone dropped for a structure fire. And the structure fire was actually our fire station. We responded, had a huge response from our manpower, but because all of our gear and equipment was inside the truck, no one could, I would not let anyone, or we would not let anyone enter the buildings simply for safety. Trucks and buildings can be replaced, people can't. And obviously, we were able to rebuild, and we came back and was able to advance probably 20 to 25 years, technologically speaking, and that was probably the most impactful event during my career at this point.
It was really heartbreaking for our firefighters because the next day we were having our celebration here in town and there was a parade, and our firefighters actually walked through the parade after having fought the fire the night before and everything. It was a mess, absolute mess.
Probably one of the biggest, most recent things was in 2019, we were able to start a joint fire district, which was encompassed the Sardinia Life Squad and Rescue Unit and the Sardinia Fire Department. That's when we became known as the Eastern Joint Fire and EMS District. And it helped the squad out because we went from essentially a volunteer life squad here in Sardinia to a part-time squad where we have 2 people on duty 24 hours a day.
Mike has been the backbone of the fire department for a long, long time. He's completely been instrumental. He's awesome with the budgeting. Mike's always been a numbers guy. He lays out the budget every year. Aside from that, he noticed the minor details that most people don't.
He's a great guy, great guy.
Come forward to accept your Distinguished Service Award for more than 50 years of service. Congratulations, and thank you for your decades of service. The next Distinguished Service Award recipient is Jim Newland. Jim has dedicated more than 20 years to the fire service, honoring and supporting families of fallen firefighters and supporting businesses impacted by fire. Let's take a look.
I started this fire department back in 1974 while I was still in high school, and what prompted me to get into this was the show Emergency was on TV. And I remember riding my bike home on Saturday so I could see that show. And as one thing led to another, and I started here, and I've been here ever since. I guess one of my biggest joys is 25 years ago, I started serving as a family escort for the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Family Weekend, where all the fallen firefighters' families come in to Emmitsburg for a memorial service, and I started that 25 years ago. I'm a COVID survivor. When I was getting released from the hospital, I had to spend 88 days there. The fire department came over, brought me home in Grass 84, and every crossroad between Lima and Kenton had a fire truck or squad sitting there. And then we got into Kenton, we had a sheriff escort us down 292. You know, I just thought it was kind of amazing. But when we come into Ridgeway and turned at the four-way stop up here to head out to my place, both sides of the road, both sides of the street was lined with people and apparatus from 2 or 3 counties around. Came in and as a welcome home for me.
If anyone deserves it in the state, it's definitely Jim, because like I said, I can't even mention the programs and what he's done over the years, you know, to even not just be the volunteer fireman or a chief or help his community, but to go all over and help other people even more than that. I just really look up to him.
The one thing I like about Jim is he's got that personality that most people are drawn to him. Always pleasurable, always wants to help you. He's just a nice guy.
It's just been so rewarding, the fire department here, and with the retirement job I have now, you know, I'm still able to be the fire chief here, but I work with a lot of fire departments, you know, around the area, and that's real rewarding. And
it's a small community, serves in 2 different counties, Logan and Hardin County. The funding is always an issue. He's very good at fundraising. He's active Central Ohio-wise with Central Ohio Fire Chiefs. He is a past member of the Ohio Fire Chiefs Board of Directors, representing the volunteer fire service. So he's very active, very pro-fire, fire EMS, and he's a family man. And we don't have very many of those anymore.
Not too many people come home from their job and say, you know, I really helped somebody out today. You know, that's payment enough.
Please come forward and accept your Distinguished Service Award. Congratulations, Chief Newland. David Gaffney is our final Distinguished Service Award recipient. As we'll see in this next video, David first joined the fire service at just 14 years old and has spent more than 50 years selflessly protecting and caring for others in his community.
To know Dave is to understand that Dave's a hands-on guy. So he was always a person that you could count on to do whatever needed to be done. He was always involved. He was also the guy that you saw at 4 a.m.
The guy behind me was the fire chief. When I turned 13, which at that time was the legal age you could become a junior fireman, he's like, why don't you go with me and we'll go down here and we'll take T&I training. I said, be a fireman. He said, we're always short.
You know, a consistent guy who showed up for anything that really needed to be done and showed up on calls.
In July, it'll be 55 years with 2 departments.
And again, to do it for that long, obviously, is admirable.
2 days ago, we went on back-to-back calls, left one scene to go to the other.
2 o'clock in the morning, he showed up. I believe it was Friday night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And he's dependable. And he has bailed out my department several times when we've needed a second EMT.
So I went down in 13, took the basic T&I, which at that point was you climbed the ladder and did rope knots. Everything else was in the book. You didn't, you know, there was no hands-on, there was no level 1, level 2 fireman. And when I went to the service, they kept me active as a fireman, so if I came home on leave when there was a call, I still made the calls.
I met Dave in about 1981 when we were doing a community service project for the Boy Scouts, and he came out and volunteered his time to work for the village to help us with the cleanup of the village. His dad was mayor at the time, and we contacted the mayor to see if we could get somebody to bring a tractor while we were doing the cleanup. And the next thing you know, Dave showed up on a tractor, and he was out there with a push broom and a shovel and helping.
It's helping the people. I mean, when I came home from the service, my dad talked me into running for council. And he said, if you want to change your environment, you have to be involved in it. If you're not involved in it, you have no right to complain. So I ran for council and got back to the fire department.
Dave has been involved in community service his entire life. He's a go-getter, and he's dependable. If you need something, he's there.
I'm still mayor. I've been the mayor since '82.
Dave's been involved in the 911 board as a fire service representative since 1998.
Every community has a zillion volunteer programs, and they all need help nowadays. There's something you can volunteer, no matter how old you are or anything. If we all got back to volunteering and taking care of our neighbors, we'd be a lot better off.
There aren't many people like him left in the world.
Dave Gaffney, please come forward to accept your award. You know, where were you when I was 14? We could have hung out. You know, we could have gone to sock hops, the malt shop, all that good stuff. Congratulations, Mr. Gaffney. Each year, the Ohio Fire Service Instructor of the Year Award honors a fire service instructor who has demonstrated outstanding teaching characteristics and has made a major impact on fire education. Let's take a look at how Douglas Robinson is making a difference with the University Heights Fire Department.
I had been on the job about 11 years, and through no fault of anyone's but my own, there had been a degree of complacency, a degree of stagnation, I would say, in my pursuit of learning and perfecting the craft of firefighting. That was a real wake-up call. Things had to change. The training that I had done in that 11-year span lacked a degree of realism. There's a tension that we have to work within in the fire service. So how can we do it safely, not get anybody hurt, and yet promote some sort of environment that is stressful or realistic? So that's the tension that I've sought to introduce here as the training officer, as well as the region around us.
He brings the training down to the individual's level. You know, nothing's forced. He leads by example. Shows folks how to do the training by getting involved and doing it with them.
In terms of our philosophies, we both really believe in just knowing and understanding and really refining the basic operations of the fire department. You know, you can never be too good at the simple things. They all kind of add up together to make complex operations that much more efficient. If we can't do the basic things, we can't get to complexity.
Very passionate about serving, not only serving the public, but serving our department and our members. He's doing this not only on a training level for our members, but regionally assisting with training efforts in this entire region.
Now we go on more EMS runs, now we go on more fire prevention activities, but we still need to be able to be proficient in those real basic fire ground functions. And that's kind of the foundation that we've, you know, with a lot of Doug's urging, has really focused on just making sure every department in this area works on the basics.
We talk a lot in the department about explaining the why. And Captain Robinson does a great job doing that, because I think it's important that folks know why they're doing something and they see the big picture. A lot of times we get tunnel visioned into the specific skill set that we're working on for that day, and he does a great job explaining the overall big picture and how it's going to come together on the incident.
He does it with the humility, he does it with a sense of humor, he does it with a lot of responsiveness to suggestions, and he works in groups and develops those other leaders in the area.
Please come forward to accept your award. The Ohio Fire Prevention Educator of the Year Award honors a fire prevention educator who has shown innovative and outstanding teaching characteristics. Now, because of these attributes, this individual has made a major impact on the field of fire prevention. This year's recipient is Melissa Gamble. Let's learn more about the impact that she's making in her community.
We've had a fire safety education program for over 50 years in Stowe to date. And we were looking to fill that position, and we opened it up to the public, just threw it out there to see what would happen. We had about 200 applicants, I believe. When Mel came across our table, her application did, it impressed us that we could have somebody from a law enforcement background that would be willing to come over to the fire side and teach our public fire safety education.
I never knew this was a position that you could get in a fire department, but I love working with children, so I thought, you know, let's apply and see if we can get it. I was not a firefighter, so during my interview for the position, they actually asked me if I would be willing to go to the fire academy and go through schooling and EMT school as well.
Recently she became a CPR and first aid instructor, so she has taken another step forward in the EMS and medical side of the business.
When we opened it up to her, we told her two things that she's going to be doing. She's going to be teaching the children in our schools. We have a very good relationship with our schools.
Every year we count on seeing her in the fall, where she does some fire safety education with all of our students in grades kindergarten through 4th. And then she comes around and sees us again in the spring. And she does a variety of safety topics, anywhere from bicycle safety, weather safety, things like that.
We told her that you're not going to be Melissa Gamble, you're going to be Firefighter Mel, and you're going to be stuck essentially with that persona probably the rest of your life. And she has embraced it.
When she walks through the buildings, everybody's waving at her, everybody's smiling, instant recognition. Everybody knows Firefighter Mel. There's a practical piece to this too, and that is we are teaching very explicit lessons on how to stay safe to our students. About this time last year, March of 2024, I received notice that one of the families in my building had suffered a house fire. But this little girl, this little six-year-old, did exactly the right thing. She got out, she went to her family meeting point, and she stayed out. Even as adults around her were dealing with the crisis. And it just really dawned on me that this is proof positive that the work that Firefighter Mel and the Stowe Fire Department are doing in conjunction with our school district, it worked.
A couple years ago, we teamed up with the American Red Cross, and we have a smoke alarm program where we go out to any residents here in Stowe, and we can install new smoke alarms inside their home. All they have to do is call, and then we come and we even do the install, so it's pretty easy.
All I can say is she does a fantastic job and deserves every bit of this award that she has earned.
I'm excited to see what she does in the future, because I know she's got more things up her sleeve.
Mel, please come forward and accept your Fire Prevention Educator of the Year award. Congratulations. The Ohio Fire Officer of the Year Award honors an Ohio fire officer who has demonstrated outstanding leadership characteristics and has made a major impact on the fire service at the local and regional level. This year, that honor goes to Kevin Watts. Watch how he has developed a reputation as a tireless advocate for mental health and safety in the fire service.
Very humbled to receive the award, but yeah, I can't really say that I've done it on my own by any means. There's been a ton of folks that have my back, support my mission, and believe in me to do the things that I do or want to do. Is a huge testament to me being able to be nominated to receive this award.
I would say he's a very transformational leader. He's a very fireman-oriented leader. He cares about the guys. That's usually evident, anything we bring to him, with time off or personal issues, just anything. He's very keen on mental health and just the crews. So he is a very good leader for firemen.
KJ and I, along with a group of people, formed the Phoenix Project, which is a local nonprofit to support mental health in the fire service.
It's a heavy culture, right, because of the service that we provide to the community, and a lot of things that we see, a lot of the situations that we get in are just heavy on the mind, heavy on the heart. You sacrifice a lot, you sacrifice family time, you sacrifice your physical body sometimes to go serve others, and there should be a reward at the end of that career with a happy, long retirement. And what you see is, a lot of folks are taking their life because of the heaviness. A lot of folks are super unhealthy because they're not, feeling good about themselves.
This October will mark my 8-year anniversary of recognizing that I had a problem and got help through Save a Warrior. And right about that 1-year mark after Save a Warrior, we had 3 local first responders within a very short period of time, and I'll tell you it was probably 2 or 3 months, who completed their suicide.
We got together as a group that have our own journeys that decided that, hey, let's put together an annual symposium where we just flood the people with resources so they can build a Rolodex, and if something happens to them or if they see one of their coworkers struggling, they can just whip out, oh, I found out this resource and it might be good for you. It's a puzzle piece, right, of a huge puzzle on how do we get a solution to our mental health issues, and not one fix is the same for everybody. So having multiple resources at one place was super important, and that's what the Phoenix Project did, definitely year 1. Year 2, we thought, how important it is to get spouses involved, significant others, because they're usually the folks that are kind of the sideline sufferers, if you will, that see this change in the first responder before anybody else does. So we doubled our capacity in year 2 to bring folks and include significant others to get those resources as well.
Please come forward and accept your Fire Officer of the Year award. Full disclosure, I know him and his lovely wife. Where is she? Is she here? Momo, former 10 TV reporter, Maureen Cosat, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to all of our winners, and now the biggie. It is time to recognize the Ohio Fire Department of the Year, our final award. And this award goes to an Ohio Fire Department that has demonstrated outstanding teaching characteristics and has made a major impact on fire education in their community and department. This year, the award goes to the Coleraine Township Department of Fire and EMS. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to learn about their impactful efforts.
Department of the Year statewide is a huge honor. And it's not just the operations division that has earned that. There are the training division, we have public educators, we have community paramedicine.
It's been decades of sustained high performance and meeting the needs and expectations of the community. Going back to our cornerstones, the Dunlap Volunteer Fire Department and the Groesbeck Volunteer Fire Department. So those 2 departments provided fire and EMS protection here in the township, and in 1975, those 2 merged and became the Coleraine Township Fire Department.
Talking about how big Coleraine Township is and how busy it is, it's actually one of, if not the largest townships in the state of Ohio. We have approximately 60,000 residents. We have 5 stations that we run out of, 2 that we just recently rebuilt.
So the 2 stations that we're in the process of replacing were the Groesbeck Volunteer Fire Department Fire Station and the Dunlap Volunteer Fire Department Fire Station. So the Groesbeck station goes back to about 1966. Likewise, we're doing the same with what was the Dunlap Volunteer Fire Department Fire Station. But we're sliding that one about 2.5 miles to the south and increasing our 4-minute coverage by 750%. So we'll go from getting to about 300 residents in 4 minutes to almost 5,000 in 4 minutes. Looking at population density, we go from urban to suburban to rural. So, we have those areas of the township that are like a city, those that are like a bedroom community, and those that are farmland or rural. Likewise, our whole western and northwestern border is the Great Miami River.
We have 2 boats that we respond with, but this week we're actually doing regional training on to get basically people certified as technicians to operate boats, and in the worst case scenario, actually do what we call a go rescue. And we actually had 3 members several years ago get the Ben Franklin Valor Award.
The way you train and how much you train will be represented by what you do on emergency incidents. And you don't want to be found out on an emergency incident that you don't train very much or you don't train very well. You want to be found out that you train a lot and you train very well, and you've become a master of your craft.
We have a different training topic each week. Normally it's 3 fire topics and then 1 EMS topic a month, which is basically the training is held Monday through Saturday to catch all the different crews we have.
The department has really grown in the 30 years that I've been here in every aspect of the fire service. So it takes everyone to be the Department of the Year, I think. There's no one division that can hang their hat on that and say that they did it by themselves, because that's just not the case. I tell my guys all the time, this is a team sport. We're all on the same team and we're all going for the win.
Coleraine Township Department of Fire and EMS, please come forward and accept your Ohio Fire Department of the Year Award. Congratulations. How about another round of applause for all of our award winners today? Those of you who have been here before know that I have a special place in my heart for firefighters. For years as a reporter, I covered, I think, just about every fire in the 614, and I was always amazed at how these men and women were so willing and able and courageous enough to walk into buildings that other people were running out of. And then I had my own fire, and I was one of those people running out of the building that the firefighters were running into. I just really admire your bravery, your courage, and your willingness to always go above and beyond to make sure that all the citizens of Ohio are safe. So thank you again personally for your service. Really appreciate and love all of you for everything that you do. So, time now, as we've just about towards the end, Chaplain Larry Foster, would you please deliver the benediction?
As we close these proceedings, we leave this place. May God bless each of you, each and every one, with his peace, protect you with his strong right hand. As the prophet Isaiah recorded these words of God in Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And then again in Isaiah 43:2, When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. Let us be strong and confident, relying on the one who is able to keep us, and not just us alone, but all those brother and sister first responders, wherever they may be right now. Remembering the words from Deuteronomy 31:8, it is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. God bless you as you go, and may God's blessing be upon each and every first responder. Amen.
Thank you so much, Chaplain. So this marks the conclusion of the 44th Ohio Fire Service Hall of Fame and Fire Awards. And if you're lucky, I'll be back for number 45. What do you think? We hope that you will stick around and join us for a special cake reception and fellowship with your fire service family. And award winners, we want you to stick around and head. Jared, where do you want them, in the back? Back there. Oh, where the balloons are? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's real subtle. All right, so please head to the back where the balloons are for additional group photos. We promise it won't take you too long, and some additional awards, I guess, will be passed out also at that time. Thank you all very much for being here to help honor these heroes who do protect us. I love me some firefighters. Love me some firefighters. Go forth. Have a great day.